Hello there, my name is Peter Tillman, and I'm going to tell you my story about how I overcame cancer. It started off in 2013, if not sooner, with a mild knee injury that just progressively over time got worse. As I went around looking and seeking out help, I jumped around through 5 different specialists, doctors, who all looked and scanned and did as much as they possibly could to figure out why I was having intense pain throughout my knees. Tests were ran, scans were done before we came to a conclusion of ALL, which is an acute leukemia. Once they were diagnosed, we got started immediately, which was around May 6th was when they brought it up and diagnosed me. And May 8th was the day that I first started chemo system immediately and started working on me. And I actually handled it very, very well. Very little sickness, a lot of days that I was tired, exhausted, but managed to hold it together throughout the whole thing. As we got further into the chemo treatments, started doing more blood work, and come to find out my body was actually holding together a lot of the cells that were trying to also kill my body. And it was a very, not uneasy feeling, but a confusing one at that to everyone, not just myself and my parents, but also to the doctors. No one could really understand how my body was holding it together. So we sent it off to Moffitt, which they looked over my paperwork, my blood work and everything, and did their best to try to find a way to figure out how to beat this, to alter it, get it out of me, in other words. So they came up with the idea of running a transplant, which means replacing my blood with a whole new batch of blood to compensate for the infected blood that was in my system. A little before November, to start my transplant, after going through 2 to 3 different donors to figure out which one best suited me. Once we set on one particular donor, we got to work immediately. And while I had a 3-month stay in Moffitt Hospital, I could not leave. I was quarantined, and for those 3 months, they slowly, little by little, brought my immune system to the lowest they possibly could, borderline killed me, in other words, and replacing my blood and my DNA all together with another person's blood type and DNA. I switched from a O positive to a A positive blood type, which is a very huge jump as far as a blood transfusion is concerned. But on the night of November 23rd, about 2:15, 2:30 a.m. is when the transplant was completed. And for a series of few weeks and months, to just kind of monitor you and make sure you don't get what they call graft versus host disease, which is when the body recognizes that it's not its original blood type and attacks itself. Once I was out of that window of having that happen, I actually got to leave the hospital and stay within what we call the Hope Lodge, which is right next door to Moffitt Cancer Center, a free, pretty much apartment that they gave us so that we could travel back and forth to Moffitt and not have to leave Tampa to go to Orlando and come back. I went through a lot of changes, and I'd have to say that getting cancer was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. As strange as that might sound, it's showed me a lot, it's taught me so much, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. Appreciating people, places, your day-to-day life, it's even better now that this has happened. But that's my short story on my cancer and what it has done for me. And thank you for listening.